Hey guys, Wayback Rewind here. Today I'm going to show you the DCR-PC55. In 2005, Sony doubled down on the DCR-PC5 and built the world's smallest DV camcorder. I've been wanting one for a while, and I'm going to unbox it live here and hopefully show you some sample footage. Coming up next, here on Wayback Rewind.
It's obviously smaller than the DCR-PC5. Both are MiniDV camcorders. This one is significantly thicker. It has a viewfinder. One of the sacrifices they made to the 55 was to get rid of the viewfinder, although in return they gave you a larger screen. The screen is larger.
The battery on the DCR-PC55 is smaller. It's much thinner, and it's carried inside the camera, which is a little bit of a throwback to an older design. But in order to make this as small as possible, they gave you a much smaller battery as a result.
That's a little floppy. I wasn't expecting that to be so floppy. Probably work around that somehow. I don't think it's supposed to be that floppy. I do believe this is supposed to be a touchscreen. Battery's dead. You charge this up overnight, see if I can get it to power up tomorrow. Okay, let's get started. This is 2005's DCR-PC55 by Sony. Now, Sony's goal here obviously was to create the world's smallest MiniDV camcorder. The most obvious thing here is that it's in a cradle. When I first looked at this camera, my assumption was that there were no other connectors on here besides the proprietary cradle connector. That's not entirely true. There is an AV and a DC in here, which is a welcome relief. If you lose the cradle, you can still power it and see the videos on here. What's odd about this is that the cradle has these same two connections on it, a DC in and an AV out. The only two additional connectors are the FireWire and the USB. What I would have preferred was for them to do something like the JVC. The JVC dock has a permanently wired connection where you can just plug this directly into the wall. It has the transformer built in here, and it has the full-size video out connections here with S-video, regular video, and stereo audio, plus a few other connections. And you can charge an external battery here. I find this dock to be much more satisfying in that respect by repeating two connectors that you already have. So you basically only have one wire. You get to pick which one you plug it into. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It would have made more sense to eliminate these connections altogether on the camera and just use these. Or if you're going to put the connections on the camera, you don't need them here as well, at least not in the same exact form factor. But be that as it may, this is what they gave you. I haven't yet powered this up, so let's just continue the tour of what this camera has to offer. You have this gigantic screen here. It is a touch screen, a few buttons along the bottom, but other than the handful of buttons here, there are not a lot of buttons on the camera itself, as you would expect. You have the zoom lever, you have the record, start, stop, the mode switch, and the eject, and that's pretty much it. You have the memory stick. It's shipped with a 16 megabyte. I put an 8 gigabyte in here. This is the smallest one that I have. Hopefully it'll be able to read it. I have no idea. Haven't powered it up yet. But it uses this very thin credit card sized battery, which I might add is completely dead. I tried charging it all night, did not take a charge. So I've ordered a new one. It's not a very common battery. I think it's going to have to come from China. It's going to take like a month to get here. So I won't be able to walk around with this portable, at least not without carrying a very large battery, car battery size thing and plugging into it. And the final set of connections, it has a proprietary hot shoe. I'm not exactly sure of all the accessories the hot shoe can accept. There is an accessory powered mic you can put in here. I don't know if it will accept a light or any other accessories, but Sony being Sony, they gave you a proprietary hot shoe that only Sony accessories can use. The DCR-IP7 MicroMV, this was at one time the world's smallest tape-based camcorder. Looking at them side by side, I would argue that the DCR-PC55 is smaller. It's kind of ironic, the 55, which uses a much larger tape, somehow ended up being smaller. I mean, the MicroMV tape is tiny. Imagine how small this camera would have been if Sony had put the same effort into reducing it as small as humanly possible. So here's the MiniDV tape, here's the MicroMV tape. MicroMV never really caught on because it was using a very high MPEG-2 compression. Picture quality suffered as a result. DV compression is very light by comparison. They both hold 60 minutes. So MicroMV was kind of a dead end. But as I indicated, Sony doubled down and figured out a way to make the 55 even smaller. The IP7 uses a standard battery that you can still buy. This camera has a fresh battery and it still works. This camera does not have a fresh battery, so I'm going to plug it in. We can see if it works. That's a good sign. It's saying fetch a juice reloge. I think it needs the clock set. Well, my high school Spanish is not going to get through the program on here, so first thing I need to do is change the language. Let's take English. Okay, let's set the clock. Okay, the clock is set. The menu looks very Sony-like from 2005. Very similar to my TRV 480. There's 3 pages, but when you press menu on the menu, you get the very complex looking circular menu. Okay, let's get out of this. Let's open this up. And I see nothing. That has me a bit worried. Now it's playing. I'm not sure what I did the first time, just like everything, like computers. First time I did the exact same thing twice and I got 2 different answers. Where would the volume be? There's the volume. It is playing. This is from my Super VHS versus MiniDV raw footage. Obviously, this is the MiniDV side. Yes. This is from a video I haven't released yet, raw footage. It is working. It's a good sign. It has time code up here, hours, minutes, seconds, frames. The image is breaking up. I see that a lot on MiniDV when you play back a tape recorded on a different machine. So this camera was advertised in excellent, hardly used condition, and I paid a premium price for it. The camera is definitely not in that condition. Aside from the floppy screen and the dead battery, which is to be expected, the heads were extremely dirty. I did manage to finally get the heads cleaned, and the camera will play. The camera section has subsequently failed. When I go into camera mode, there's literally nothing. The screen is completely dark. The lens is open, but nothing's happening. So shortly after using this camera, the camera completely failed. So that makes the floppy screen, the dead battery, and the dirty head issue irrelevant because the camera section no longer works. So that being said, before the camera failed, I bought some accessories, so let's take a look at those. I bought a new battery. The batteries for this camera are hard to find. The first one I ordered from Amazon, they canceled my order because it was out of stock, even though it was listed in stock. And then I bought this one. I don't know if I want to out the seller or not, but I ordered it off eBay. It is a new battery to replace the NP-FA50 Sony battery, but here's the thing. This battery is swollen, and it's swollen to the point that it won't even go in the camera. Let's see what else we got for this camera. Hot shoe adapter. One of the things with Sony cameras, Sony being Sony, they give you a hot shoe, but it's based on proprietary Sony technology. Sony had multiple versions of the hot shoe. This one was called Active Interface Shoe. They had 2 or 3 others. You have to be careful, whichever one you have. And I'm opening this for the first time on camera, so if this is the right one or not, we'll find out. Even if it works, it won't transfer any of the electrical connections, but it will at least provide me a physical interface. Let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. First of all, this is tricky to install. I don't know that I can. This is in the way dramatically, so okay, there's a trick to this that I just realized. It does not slide in like a normal shoe would from the end. These notches here go into those notches there, and you're able to slide it in as such. I was finally able to get this to slide forward off camera. It took a lot of energy and dexterity, which I couldn't really do while trying to hold this steady in front of the camera. But once this is slid forward, you rotate this knob, it tightens down, and now this is firmly held in place. It is firmly in there, but it's no longer a hot shoe, so it kind of begs the question of what would you put in there? There are no microphone jacks on this camera, so you couldn't use a mic. You could put a light in there, but there are probably better ways to mount a light. I guess if you had a very small light, you could put in there, or you could mount a large light. Let me just show you what that looks like. I need to buy a small light just for demonstrations like this, because this light is ludicrously large. It runs the risk of overpowering this tiny mount. Here is the world's smallest camcorder with a crazy large light on it. So speaking of lights, I found a better solution. I said I needed a smaller light specifically for this camera. The HVL HL1 video light. This has several advantages over this ginormous light that I just demonstrated. Number one, it uses the same active interface shoe that this camera has, which means this light can be powered directly by the camera. Not to mention, it is much smaller and appropriately sized for this camera. So I'm seeing it for the first time as you are. I just unboxed it. It is designed specifically for this camera and other Sony cameras of this size. Brand new out of the package. Much more appropriately sized for this camera. Let's see how it fits. Let's remove the entire shoe. It should come off easier than it went on. It should. So we will put the notch in the notch, slide it forward, tighten it down. This is a much more appropriately sized light. Let's see if we can turn it on. And I got nothing. Okay, I had to read the instructions, which happens occasionally here at Wayback Rewind. I normally like to figure this out on the fly. I had to read the instructions, but apparently the light only comes on when the camera's in standby. I had to put a tape in, make the camera ready to go before the light would come on. But as you can see, my light does work. I didn't pay a lot for this, but this is an authentic, period correct light for this camera. It does fit the active interface shoe. It is powered directly by the camera. I can't unplug this and show you because the battery is dead. The world's smallest tape-based camcorder. That tiny little light is actually pretty nice. But if I were to record right now, all I would record is black because this camera is no good. I don't normally buy no good cameras. I don't like having non-working cameras. I bought this one thinking it would work. I'm a little disappointed. The camera does not work at all. Okay, so I'm sure you can sense my disappointment in having a camera that's no good. So I don't normally do this. This is not another episode of Work or Broke, but I couldn't resist the temptation to buy another camera and see what happens. We have another DCR-PC55. Visually, it's in pretty good shape. They always are. There's no battery. Let's check out the screen. The screen is in much better shape. It's not floppy. Let's give it some power and see what happens. It's waking up. That's a good sign. It's asking for the date. Well, this is not good. The screen is completely dark, even though the lens is open. I'm in camera mode. I should be seeing something. This camera is dead as well. I wonder if it'll play a tape. Let's see if this will at least play. Well, it loaded the tape. It appears to be reading the tape. The heads are very dirty, as they all seem to be. But it's at least trying. Just to demonstrate, I can put in a memory stick. At least it is able to play back the memory stick. I don't know what good that is, but the camera is completely dead. Oh, wait a minute. What just happened? The camera just woke up. You saw that the same time I did, in real time. How did that just happen? The colors are off badly. That should be red, not purple. The camera did wake up. The camera did just wake up. That was unexpected. Didn't see that coming. Let's see if we can record something. That usually will force the heads to do some kind of self-cleaning. I'm getting the 2200 error for dirty heads. What I found with this camera is if you force it to record with dirty heads, it will sort of perform some kind of self-cleaning. I don't know how it does that. What I found is it will sort of perform some kind of self-cleaning. I don't know how it does that. And as I expected, by forcing it to record with dirty heads, somehow now it's playing. I'll try to play it back here in a second. So, we witnessed another one of those miraculous recoveries. Camera that was completely dead. The colors are completely thrown off. And it's probably going to die again here shortly. And we're going to go for the hat trick. I don't normally do this, but I bought a third untested DCR-PC55. Who knows? Maybe this camera will wake up. Maybe it won't. Who knows? Oh, old school peanuts. I'm going to pull this out without making a mess, which is impossible. Here we have... What do we have? It's a little rough around the edges. This one has a battery. It's not swollen. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Most likely doesn't. Let's check the screen. Screen is in good shape. It's not floppy. All right. Is it work or broke? You're seeing it for the same first time as I am. This one has a tape in it already. It's complaining badly. It's complaining about the power source and the tape. That's not a good sign. This one has issues. It won't let go of the tape. It won't eject. This one has multiple issues. It has a tape in it. It won't let go of it. Sometimes you can help it like that. Okay, I have no idea what's on this tape. Let's put my tape in there, which I know is a good tape. Still complaining about the tape. Let's put the memory card in there, which it may play nicer with the memory card than the tape. Completely dark screen. So this camera is dead as well. It might wake up, it might not. Well, it is playing back from the memory card, which I don't know what good that does me. I was hoping to show off the world's smallest tape-based camcorder. Instead, I have a camera that was advertised as excellent condition that doesn't work at all, has several issues. I have one that was advertised as broken and actually woke up and worked for a little bit. I have one that was completely untested. The camera is completely no good. All three, ironically, will play tapes. That's unusual. Usually when they go bad, the tape mechanism is the first thing to go bad. But all three of these, the tape mechanism is fine, more or less. This one is a little sketchy, but it's not the tape that goes bad in these cameras, it's the camera for some reason. So there you have it, the DCR-PC55, the world's smallest tape-based camcorder. Very difficult to find working, but it is a neat little unit. I'm going to keep looking. Maybe I'll find one day that actually works, and I'll be able to demonstrate it for you. If you found this interesting, please hit the like or subscribe button, and thank you for watching.